Good.
Alright, so I'm going to be talking today about a counterintuitive approach to driving safely during your daily commute. And the reason you're going to want to listen up during my presentation is because this could save you money and costly repairs to your car, and it could even save your life someday. So before I get started, I'm going to show you this image right here. It's a picture of some skid marks flying across the road. You may be thinking, oh, some hooligan has gone mad in the public neighborhood. But that's not always the case when you see these skid marks. It's often actually a scene of a tragic incident, such as this one. And here's where I really get down to the problem. Because so many cars are left spiraling out of control because people are helpless. I asked you on my survey, I set up a scenario where you're driving 45 miles per hour and someone breaks in front of you and you go sliding. How comfortable would you be? Only one person said that they would be completely comfortable getting their car safely to a stop. And that's the problem. Now, my solution to the problem? Drifting. This, while it can be done for fun and games or for sport, like you see Tanner Faust right here, he's drifting in a competition, it's also a very practical way to learn how to drive more safely and control your vehicle. I went out to the bar last night before my presentation, going to the bar, with a coworker, because we had a big wine dinner. It was a long day at work, so we went to the bar. And I told her about my presentation. I told her I'm going to tell the classroom that doing this will make them a safer driver. And I told her why. And she said that that exact scenario that I told you about in my first survey is how she got in 2 major accidents. She had a deer jump out in front of her car, slammed on her brakes, jerked the steering wheel completely out of control, crashed her car twice. Became very costly repairs. And that's why if she knew how to control the car, she would have been much better off. So you may be thinking, how did I come up with this conclusion? This is the cold, snowy winter roads of Burlington, Vermont, and this is where I learned how to drift. I went to school in Burlington for 2 years, and my old roommates and I would go out every winter in the nighttime, and here's Noah. He has a couple words that he'd like to say.
Hi, everybody. Because of the police. Fuck the police.
Oh. But we used to go out at nighttime. We'd get our radios and our radar detectors and go drifting on the streets. Granted, it wasn't the greatest place to learn how to drift. Not a good idea with all the buildings and stuff. But I've used the experience that I gained while learning how to drift in real life situations that I could have been put in serious danger. But I feel like this has helped me come to help me get away safer from potential incidents. But I'm not the first person to come up with this idea that drifting makes you a safer driver. In fact, it's the Finns. BBC's Top Gear has rated Finland among some of the safest drivers in the world, and they've said that their driver's test should become the world standard for all drivers. And this is why. What I have behind me is a chart, a map of how hard driving tests are in different countries. Obviously, I've shortened the list. There's more countries than that, but this is where I want to focus in, Finland down here. You must be 18 years old to drive in Finland. They have a practical test, just like we do in the United States, and they have a theory test, just like we do here. You need to have at least 18 hours of practical lessons before you can take your test. We have a similar thing here. And things you may see on your test are skid pan sessions and night driving. You might be able to imagine what night driving is, but would you like to see what a finished skid pan session looks like?
Yes.
Good, because I have one.
slideshow. There we go.
Alright. Oh shit, sorry. Okay, so as you may have guessed, this slippery surface is the skid pan. And while that was just a short 1-minute video, in a finished driving test, you might be asked to do that several times. And you need to complete it successfully to get your license. If you don't, you have to retake the entire test over again. And the entire process of getting your driver's license in Finland takes about 2 years. It's a very long process. But, as I've said, they were among the safest drivers in the world, and they do have a standard that we should hold ourselves to in driving, because they focus a lot more on handling during their driver's test. So, I've told you about a problem. People are flying all over the world, or the road, wrapping their cars around trees. Come up with a solution, just like the Finns. We should learn how to drift to control our cars better. But you may be wondering, where do you take your first steps? And for that, I have a website for you right here. It's Drivers Education USA. If you look that up, you can navigate your way to here, how to pull out of a skid. And on this website, they have lots of information for you to scan and learn a lot of how to prevent from skidding. That's all pretty typical information, stuff that you already know. You should drive slower when it rains outside. But they also have this part down here, how to pull out of a skid, and it has 2 different kind of sections. If your vehicle's understeering or front wheel skid where you're stuck going straight, and if your vehicle's oversteering or the back end is kicking out on you. They have lots of very useful information, and I think that you should check it out. So that about sums up what I have to talk about up here for you. Does anybody have any questions? You got a question?
What kind of cars do you use for drifting?
I drive a